Well, I was wondering if maybe you had chickened out.
Hi there. I'm so sorry about that.
No worries, no worries. So you ready to demonstrate your prowess or lack thereof?
I'm ready.
All right, let me cue it up for you. We're going to do simulated exam. Boom. All right, here we go. Off to the races. Now I'm going in terms of explanation. I'm let you answer and then add any commentary or tell you where you got it right or wrong. But we do want to give you the if you miss it, you miss it because we do want to get a score that is a real score, right?
Right.
So, all right, number one, all the following are acceptable choices to function as a depository and intermediary for transactions between buyers and sellers of securities, except.
B, credit unions.
Yeah, excellent. I think that would be a high-end kind of a question to even get you, but excellent.
Thank you.
All the following are investment income, except. All the following are investment income, except.
All your investment income. B.
B, running a business. I like that. Boom. Now, I don't think I told it to score it along the way, which is good. Okay, because we're trying to get our real score. So that's good for us. Which of the following choices would a registered rep be able to make for a customer in a non-discretionary account?
Wait, which of the following choices would a registered?
Yeah, so you don't have discretionary authority on my account. And so they're asking what you can do without my permission. Without it, well, I shouldn't say permission.
1
Without,
and 4.
excellent. You don't need time and price. That's called good execution. Remember, you do need it for the A's. Action,
Got it.
sell, asset, or amount. Excellent. Updates to the U4, such as a change in address that do not point to disciplinary action, must be made promptly, but no later than.
30 days.
Excellent, excellent. That's very testable. That U4 on your SIE, right? And then remember the reasons for statutory disqualification, conviction of a felony within the last 10 years, a misdemeanor involving embezzlement or money or securities. Have you been denied, suspended, revoked registration in the past? Who is responsible for U5? U4 is hello, and U5 is goodbye.
That is the member firm.
Excellent. Your client, Nate Bauer, has been investing for several years and is comfortable with moderate risk as long as he can get in and out of the investment easily. His portfolio is mostly in stock, and he would like to diversify into some other asset classes and thinks real estate would help with that. Which of the following would be most suitable for him?
A listed real estate REIT.
Yeah, excellent. Gee whiz. I mean, Which of the following are required in a discretionary account? Which of the following are required in a discretionary account?
Approval by a principal for discretion prior approval. B or C?
Well, you tell me. Approval. B says approval by a principal for discretion to be permitted in an account, and C says prior approval by the principal before each trade. So is it B or is it C?
I want to say C.
That is your first miss. Right? The manager has to approve it promptly, but not beforehand. The account itself has to be approved beforehand. So the answer there is B. So
I was right the first time.
Yeah, okay. Trust yourself. Trust yourself. We talked about that, we don't believe you have a knowledge deficit problem. So, and usually your flash response is your best response. Now, one of my test taking tricks is called reduction to the ridiculous. Now, what does the world look like if every time I have discretionary authority, I go check with my manager? No, he's just responsible to frequently and diligently, and we never tell him what that means, he or she, because, then we say, sorry, wasn't frequent or diligent enough, right? But it is C. Or excuse me, you said C and it was B.
Yeah,
Which of the following confirmation prospectus must be provided no later than confirmation of the sale?
D, summary prospectus, or wait. Yeah, D.
You missed another one. It's the statutory prospectus, right?
Um,
Summary is what I get you involved with, but at some point, right, I give you the full-blown prospectus or tell you how to get it. So two misses. So we got to take a deep breath. Remember, we don't want to start going off the rails after, such a great start. So I'm joking, but not really on the test. If you feel yourself, well, you wouldn't know because I'm telling you whether you got it right or wrong. But if you feel yourself kind of like, not in a good rhythm, just stop, take a strategic pause, and then resume, right?
okay.
All right. So our next one. The board of directors of the Windmill Growth Fund have declared a dividend. The X date for the dividend will be likely on which of the following days? On which of the following days?
ERP. The day of.
I'm sorry, did you answer?
No, I'm just reading.
Yeah, please do, because this is one of those RTFQ ones, right?
Because I know it's DERP. I know after.
Yeah, but it's a mutual fund. Remember, you're doing business directly with the mutual fund. So if this was a secondary transaction, it's not. If it was a secondary transaction, it would be D, you'd be right, DERP, declared X record payable. But in an open-end mutual fund, a traditional open-end mutual fund where you're doing business directly with the mutual fund itself in the primary market, all the dates are set by the board of directors. Now, the secondary market, the X is a function of the Uniform Practice Code secondary trading. There is no secondary trading. So this is going to be the first business day after the record only because this is a mutual fund, right?
Okay.
So I'm going to give you that one. That one's tough. By the way, the other thing about, Kaplan is being, is bigger jerks than the real jerks because they're trying to stretch your mind and hope it'll go back to the same spot. But, I wouldn't worry too much about it. And I feel bad because when you miss a question like this, the vast majority of the times, the answer would have been what indeed DERP. It would have been D. So, that's why I'm not too worried about it. And I don't want you to start doing it. I call these Kaplan and test prep vendors have what I call a change up question where, routinely you're getting the question right over and over again. And then they give you kind of a different little bit of spin on it. And then that causes you to miss it. I just had a guy today. I know he was really upset because most of the time you would say longest maturity and lowest coupon, and that most of the time would be correct. But they got the change up and they weren't asking about rising interest rates or asking about falling interest rates, and that changes that answer on. Just be careful on the change up. Now, the test is not trying to do that to you like Kaplan is, right? So, don't be looking for tricks. All right, a face amount certificate company is best defined as which of the following? Which of the following?
Is it B?
It is indeed B, and these are legal in most states because, I'm going to get a commission based on that face amount, even though you haven't invested anything yet. I wouldn't worry about that at all on your exam, but you got it right, so maybe you would have liked to have that. An associated person is unable to work for any business other than its member firm without the employing brokers, dealers.
A.
Yeah, so if you're going to be doing something, well, it depends in any other business. So you said authorization of the principal. It ends up being authorization because you're going to make written, disclosure to the firm. And then they would say whether or not it's authorization by a principal. So you were a little too strict on the answer. It's actually knowledge of the activity, but no, again, I wouldn't worry about that as a, test issue.
Okay.
All the following must be on the cover page or beginning of the summary prospectus of a mutual fund, except.
A.
Well, the A share, B share, C share would be very important. So remember, they're asking about the summary prospectus, the share classes, the website where you can get a prospectus, the name of the firm getting you involved in it. No, it's the name of the investment advisor that would not be on there, right? My name as your firm that's getting you involved in the fund isn't actually on the prospectus.
Okay.
And the name of the investment advisor to the fund. So whether this means investment advisor to the fund or the investment advisor, neither one of those would be on there. Customer purchased 100 shares of M&O common stock 2 years ago for 20. They now sell the shares for 23. Over the last 2 years, M&O has paid a 25-cent quarterly dividend. What is the total return? What is the total return?
So that's 3 plus 2 is 5 divided by.
Yeah, I like what you're doing. You have a piece of paper there. Are you
I
gonna,
have my,
are you going to try and do that all in your head?
yeah, I think it's 25%.
You are correct, but if you would have missed that, I would have given you grief and gone, hey, you are correct. Right? The total return is what you made from price appreciation and the income stream.
Yeah.
All right. As long as it's not restricted in any documentation, margin is permissible in which of the following accounts? Margin is permissible in
1 and 3. So C.
1 and 3, and you are correct. A customer buys a 5% coupon bond at par. It will mature in 10 years. Which of the following statements is true?
B.
Use a B.
D as in dog.
You are correct. You are correct, right? Because that's your teeter-totter seesaw. Excellent. You'll get something like that, as you know, on the exam. So excellent. A customer has a significant amount of money in bank deposits, 225,000 in a savings account titled in the customer's name, 240 in a checking account titled jointly with his spouse, and 100,000 in the account where the customer is the custodian for a grandchild. Should the bank fail, FDIC insurance would cover.
Is it A, the entire 565?
Yeah, I would think so, right? Because we add that all up. The joint account is different, yeah, right, and than him, and the kid's account is different. So you were correct. I don't think you're really going to have to total that up just to know, but it's 250, and 250, and then however many different accounts you have. So excellent.
Yeah.
Which of the following best describes how a cell stop at 39 would be filled?
So this is one of the categories that I'm like not doing well, these stop limit orders.
Okay, well, whoa, slow down. This might be what the problem is. This is not a stop limit. This is just a cell stop. So the stop is either going to turn into a market order or a limit order. So this is not a cell stop limit. If this was a cell stop limit, it would have said cell stop limit at 39. So when we go trade at or through the stop, 39, it's either become a market order or a limit order. This would become a market order. Now, if the customer just said, and it's where it is confusing, if the customer just said sell at 39, that would be a sell limit, would be a stop. To be a sell stop limit, it would have to be sell stop limit. So sell at 39, no stop is a sell limit. Sell stop at 39, pull the trigger, it's a market order. So I'm glad you told me that, because that could be one of the things you can pick up some points here. So this, if it trades at or through, is not becoming a limit order. If this trades at or through, it's going to become a market order, right? Are we clear? Let me get my annotation tool.
Yeah, so I guess for this, so a sell stop at 39.
If this was a sell stop limit, right, that would actually be there. That term would be there. The only time that's not going to be there is if the customer just said sell at 39, right?
Right. But so if it's a sell stop.
Yes, it is a sell stop. And where's that placed in relationship to the market?
The next price.
Well, where did I tell you a sell stop is going to be?
At the market, when it hits in 39 at the market.
It's going to be a market, but right, where do we place sell stops in relationship to the market price? So the sell stop is at 39.
Mm-hmm.
So right now the market is somewhere above that, right? Because sell stops are placed below the market. Slobs.
So it'd have to all. So that limits it to B and D.
That's correct.
So I would say D.
Well, this is where you told me that this was something you're working on, and you just proved it. Remember when it says the next price below 39, no, it's the next price. Once it's triggered, it is a market order. So it's not the next price below 39 after, it's whatever that trade is. It could be 40, it could be 41 after the market falls. Now, the answer here is it's the next available price after it trades at or through 39. The answer is
Okay.
B. So it's not a big deal, but that's what we're trying to do here, right?
Yeah.
In terms of getting the mark. So, boom. Well, we're going to mark you wrong on that one. But remember, it's any price.
Okay.
Any price, not the next price. Now, your point, and you said that this was something that you were struggling with. You would have been right. Had this been a sell stop limit, then you would have been correct.
So then if it was a limit, you're saying it would be D, the next price below.
Yeah, well, as a seller, not really, because remember, as a seller, you'd want his price or more. So it would be 39 or more, right? So still wouldn't be D, because once it got triggered, it would be a limit at 39. And remember, now is a limit. You want your price or more. So the seller, your price or more, buyer, your price.
Okay.
So, all right, let's hope we run into another one like that. That's the whole point, by the way. So we should feel good about that one, because that's what we're trying to do. So, right, let's get rid of that. Let's get our next one. Your customer has a large cash position and is interested in purchasing shares, brick and mortar store stock, ticker BMS. If it drops to 20 a share, the stock is currently trading at 23. So if it drops, so it's 23 and he wants to buy it at 20. Now here we go. So it looks like we're getting another opportunity here to talk about this. So he's telling me he wants to buy it at 20. So if he wants 20, well, that means 19 would be even better, right? So
Right. So it'd have to be B.
So it's his price or better, right? So
Yeah.
so now they're curious to know if there's a way to use options. So now it's saying options. So, we have options and we have orders. Is there a way to use options to generate some extra income? Now, you should know whenever it says income, that means we have to sell the option. Because when you're selling an option, that's how you get income, and buy the shares. So this is basically asking you which option position would it be where you would end up buying the stock and you collect money for doing so. So do you use the matrix? How do you do your options? It's only going to be 2 or 3 options on the SIE, so you don't have to be an option guru. But remember, we have a long call, which is a choice to buy. This guy does want to buy the stock, but it says he wants income, so he can't be paying a premium. We have a short call, which is an obligation to sell. Now it doesn't work because this guy wants to buy. We have a long put, which is a right or choice to sell. And then we have a short put, which is an obligation to buy.
I think it would be D.
There you go. You are correct. Right. So, by the way, the other thing we could have done is maybe an order, but they didn't give us an order that works, right? Because a buy stops above the market. That wouldn't work.
Right.
And which of the following accounts with the use of margin always be prohibited?
B.
Yeah, that's any fiduciary. Would you say B, individual retirement accounts or fiduciary? There you go. You got it correct. LMN Corporation has 10 million shares of stock outstanding. LMN intends to offer an additional 2 million shares through a stock rights offering to raise additional capital. Your customer owns 500,000 common shares. How many stock rights will your customer receive when rights are issued? Ooh, this is another tough one.
$500,000.
Yeah, remember, as many shares as you have, that's how many rights you have. Good job. Right now, you're not going to be able to buy extra. You're going to be able to buy proportion ownership. And where are these exercisable? Very test. Where are these rights going to be exercisable in relationship to the current market price at issuance? Are you going to be able to buy the stock at less than the current market price if you have a right?
Yes.
There you go. Ding, 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 ding. And do you have a short term to make your decision or long term? What is the
Short term.
right on, as contrasted to warrants, which are long term and exercisable below? Excellent. Each of the following investments and practices are deemed ineligible for an IRA or any other retirement plan except, so they're,
Yeah,
I
it's
call
A.
this- yeah, I call these the Sesame Street trick. One of these things is either a good thing or a bad thing, and you are correct.
Thank you.
In order for gain to be taxed as long-term capital gain, the position must be held for how long?
More than 1 year, C.
Boy, on the things you know, man, you are solid. You know, that's good news. I mean, you're not fumbling around with this stuff. You know, I know this one, aim and shoot, point and click, and move on to your next performance opportunity. You like it. A tombstone announcement may contain all the following except
My first instinct is A.
an offer to sell the securities, all the following except, yeah, I see where you would do that. And I like that. You should kind of go with your first inclination, right?
Yeah, because it has to be the type of security, name of the
Yeah.
underwriters. Yeah, so it's A.
You're correct again. In fact, the tombstone actually says this is neither offer to sell nor
Exactly.
to buy the following securities, and offers are made only by a copy of the prospectus. Read it carefully. Do not send money. Limited partnership programs are characterized as direct participation programs. The term direct participation refers to
Limited partnership programs are categorized as EPP, the term. B.
it is not B. Remember, the point of a partnership, by the way, not a big deal on the test. What I mean by that is, you know, there's maybe one question or two, but the main thing about them is they're not liquid. So they'd be totally inappropriate. These are also known as partnerships. And in partnerships, you have the flow through of the profits and losses, right? They're not trapped within that. I mean, if a corporation, you own stock in a corporation, the corporation makes money, pays taxes, pays you a dividend, you pay taxes. That money
Okay,
gets, but in a partnership, there is a flow through of the profits and losses. Use that ability of any partner, limited or general, you know, you should definitely know that's a bad miss because limited partners have nothing to do with running the business. Right. So did you say B? Is that what you said?
yeah, but it's A.
Yeah, it's A. And the only reason I'm giving you a hard time about B is because let's make sure that, you know, limited partners have nothing to do with running the business.
Yeah, and I did know that, so it was stupid on my end.
Yeah, well, that's okay. That's all right. You know, you when you're running cool, you know, when you get questions right, you build up that kind of that pad you need for, you know, misses. So, and
Yeah,
again, that's not a big deal. You know, I don't feel worried at all if you're missing like esoteric, like partnership questions. You know, as long as you're not missing, you know, things that are on the broad avenues and highways of, you know, the test, I'm not too concerned. What is the greatest disadvantage of a limited partnership?
C.
Yeah, you can't get in or out of a partnership without the permission of the GP. You are correct. Which of the following are considered tools to implement fiscal policy? It is indeed very testable to the difference between fiscal policy and monetary policy.
Is it A?
You are correct. I wish you just had a little more confidence in your voice when you say it. You're correct. And remember, Congress and president is in charge of that.
Mhm.
And then 2 and 3 would be monetary policy, and that's controlled by the Federal Reserve Board. So good job. You are going to get some economic questions. XYZ debentures are trading for $1,200 while similarly rated bonds are being offered at 4.5. What is the current yield on the 6% XYZ debentures?
So I know it's premium, so I know it's gonna go down.
That's
So
That's correct.
current yield has to be higher than 4.5, so it's not C. So let me get my calculator.
I am so happy to hear that because I wanted to, you know, give you a hard time earlier when you didn't use your calculator and you got the math correct. So I couldn't give you a hard time. And if you would have not used your calculator here, you know, would be upset because we don't want to turn something into a judgment question that is not.
Right.
Current yield is simply what the investment pays you divided by what it costs you. So they were trying to get you to go down the teeter-totter seesaw road with that thing about 4.5% similarly rated.
Mhm.
That has nothing to do with answering this question. Now, your teeter-totter was helpful, I think, when you started to say, okay, on my teeter-totter, I know the current yield on a bond at a premium has to be less than the nominal yield. So I know it's not A and I know it's not B.
Yeah, it's D, 5%.
There you go. Yeah, don't be giving up questions like that because, there's no interpretation of a math question. You just simply just get it right or you get it wrong. Who is responsible for meeting the desired returns of a defined benefit plan? So in a defined benefit plan, remember, well, I'll let you answer first. But
Sponsor.
yeah, indeed. And then remember the other version of this is defined contribution where the employee is the one doing it. Good job. Which of the following investments has a predetermined termination date? Kind of interesting on this one. I kind
Is
of think
that a unit
yeah,
investment trust?
excellent. That one's a tough one. I think what they would have asked, and that's why I said it's kind of tough because I don't really think this is the flavor of the actual exam, but a unit investment trust, the assets are professionally selected, they're passively managed, and then, they get distributed out. So they are kind of a liquidating thing. So excellent. When a bond is purchased at a discount, the current yield will be, now here you get to use your teeter-totter.
B.
Excellent. All the following would be advantages to a limited partner, except,
C.
I'm sorry?
C, participate in the
There
management.
you go. I'm going to be upset. You missed the same question twice, right? So, indeed. In order for a registered rep of a member firm to receive any form of compensation, such as commissions after terminating employment, all the following are correct, except, so one of these things is false.
B.
B, it would be permissible to pay continuing commissions to a surviving party. Now, remember, this was asking you what's false. It's except. And that would be, if that was part of the written contract, that would be okay.
So then
So,
it's D.
D, earnings from business will be earnings from referred business from existing clients. You were correct at that time. Right. That's the only time the way I think of that, it's the only time somebody's never ever been registered.
Right.
Receiving commissions. I consider it the widow or widower of, a former rep.
Right.
Yeah, we're gonna mark you wrong on that one. I think we probably should, just because we're trying to get a score, and you're doing pretty good. So you don't need no help. So far, you don't need no help on getting a score. Which of the following pairs are not covered by FDIC insurance? As I said, the main thing is just to make sure it's 250 grand.
Yeah, it's A.
Indeed, you are correct. It is indeed A. Oh, wait a minute.
So I read that B.
Okay, yeah, I thought you were right too. And I thought, whoa, wait a minute. Which of the following may not be purchased on margin, but can be used as collateral for a margin loan after being held for 30 days? I kind of like this one.
Which of the following may not be purchased? A, mutual funds.
Yeah, remember, you can't buy new issues on mutual fund, and a traditional open-end mutual fund is continually offering new shares to the public. So, but after you've had it fully paid for 30 days, then you can use it as collateral. So excellent. Shares on electronic form at a clearinghouse on a broker dealer's account are.
C, held in street name.
Yeah, I remember that just makes it so much easier to, conduct business. So in a cash account, you have a choice about that, but in a margin account, you would have no choice. Your securities must be in street name, and that indeed means the name of the broker dealer. Which of the following sets of FIN rules has to do with dealing with the public? I like this one as well. This one's a pretty good one. All those could have been right answers to different questions, but there's only one of these that's the right answers to this question.
Following set of FINRA rules focuses on fair dealing with the public. Conduct rules,
Indeed, indeed. If I would have said which of the following deals with trade practice complaints, that would have been the code of procedure, the COP, I think is a good word. Remember, that's the Department of Enforcement, right? And they handle things like, market makers who are failing to honor firm quotes, backing away. If I would have said which of the following is used to settle civil disputes, that would have been the code of arbitration. And if this question had said which of the following standardizes secondary trading practices within the securities industry, that would have been the Uniform Practice Code, right? That's at X date, that kind of stuff, good delivery. So good job. An investor is convinced that CDT stock will soon decline in value for a number of reasons. What investment strategy would allow the investor to take advantage of the anticipated decline in the share value with the smallest cash investment? So they're asking, how do you be a smart bear? Don't be a dumb bear, be a smart bear.
so I would say purchase a put option.
Excellent, excellent. You're taking a 7 next?
Yeah,
That's fantastic. I always like when you do well on that, because on the 7, you're going to get a lot more of that than you're going to get on the SIE, and that means you're in good shape. So, the effort you put into the options on the SIE will pay dividends for you on your 7. Excellent, good job. A registered rep has left one firm to join another. Sometime later, the former employer discovers that some information on the U5 at the time of termination was inaccurate. The firm need not file an amended U5 if how much time has gone by.
so if the time, so 2 years,
Yeah, this one's kind of stupid. There is no stated limit on, how long you do this, right? So they're just trying to bait you. 2 years is when they have jurisdictional retention of you. So that means if you, get out of the business, you're supposed to respond to FINRA for 2 years. 5 years, the only thing 5 years could be the right answer to is money laundering records, CTRs, SARs. And then that 30 days would have been, I think, a good miss because amended U4s are 30 days. But the answer here is actually A.
Okay.
I'm going to give that to you because I just think it's a stupid question. So
okay,
under regulation SP, which of the following are true regarding consumers? Which of the following is true regarding consumers?
what was the hard one?
Yeah, so what this is, but let's just talk a little bit what the rule's about. What this is about is, are you holding, information on me? And on what circumstances would it be expected that you're going to keep information, my private information, like my credit card and my social, and under what circumstances would you not be taking that, right? And there'd be no reason for you to be holding that information.
Because a consumer, all it takes is one time you have that information.
That's right.
So I would have went with C.
You're correct. You're
Okay.
exactly correct. Regarding options, it should be recognized that the maximum movement for underlying stock prices could be, regarding options, it should be recognized the maximum movement for any underlying stock could be. Wow, that's kind of an interesting question.
B.
Well, be as low as 0 as infinity. Yeah, I think what we're trying to get at in this question, I don't think they'd ask that on the test, is that, options are derivatives. And so the derivative is the stock, and you're correct. The stock could go anywhere from 0 to infinity. I think I would have probably, you got that right. You're doing pretty well on some high-end option questions. I would have probably tied it to like, don't do a naked call because of that, right? I mean, if you're wrong, you're going to lose everything, right?
Right.
An underwriting group is currently assisting an issuer with the preparation and filing of the registration statement for a new issue. Who is responsible for the accuracy of the information within the registration statement? So remember, the registration statement is important. That means we're selling registered securities.
The issuing corporation, or was it both?
Well, remember, yeah, it's the issuing corporation. I like what you said. Go with always your first response. You know, but we as underwriters could be held accountable, but it's ultimately the
Yeah.
issue, right? And then if I'm going to try and stay out of trouble, I'm going to say, hey, how was I supposed to know? I just saw an article today on this crowdfunding site that these real estate developers were using to raise money from the public, and you know, now they're in trouble because they, you know, didn't do any due diligence at all on these people that were using their platform. So you're correct. It's the issuing corporation. One of your clients wants to set aside some money for her nephew who's just turned 30. This is very testable, but she has some reservations. She does not wish his numerous creditors to have access to the money until after she dies, but she wants him to have easy access to the money at that time.
It's gonna be A, TOD.
Yeah, you're correct and very testable. Boom. Yukon Gold has secured rights to develop a rich mine of precious metals in a foreign country. Shortly after the facility begins production, the government of that nation collapses, and the new government is insisting on renegotiating the contract. This is an example of,
Political risk.
yeah, I would have said political risk as well, right? They didn't give us sovereign risk, but yeah, that's correct, right? Business risk is, you know, would be the mining is the problem. Legislative risk would be Congress. Regulatory risk would be like.
Um,
Are you still there?
yes, I don't know
I
what
don't know what
happened.
the heck happened. That was pretty scary. All of a sudden I just disappeared. Let me yeah, I don't, you know, it's about 120 out here in Vegas. So maybe I think it's the heat that's causing the technology. Let me go get that. What were we on? Were we on question 40?
I think 42.
42. Okay, so we'll just queue up. I don't know if it's going to let me go back to that. Let's see if it does. If it does, great. But if not, we'll just add what 33 to that. Let's see. Oh, man, that sucks. But we are going to, if we don't get it, we're going to lose your score. And I think your score is fine. I'm very impressed as your tutor that you're doing as well as you are. Let's see.
You think I
So-
could pass for Friday?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And that just irritates the heck out of me because we were trying to get a score. You want to start over? I mean, how much time? I don't want to wear you out before you test, and you're doing fine. So, up to you. We could do a custom quiz with a balance of 30 questions from the various.
Yeah, whatever you think is fine. 30
I
questions.
I
is
don't want to
good.
really kind of, you know, wear you out too much. So, you know, you don't want to, you know, run up, you know, wear yourself out. It's like an athletic event. All right. So let's see. Let's pull from the heavy things. Let's pull. Oh, people tell me they always got more preferred stock questions than they were expecting. So let's pull some from there. You did pretty good on bonds. You've done pretty good on mutual funds. You've been ace and options. We
Maybe
have. I haven't seen.
question
What's
like
that?
on the open shares and closed end
Yeah,
shares,
closed in. Yeah, you want to try that? Let's do some of that then. Let's boom.
and
Yeah.
definitely the limit and stop orders.
Yeah, we definitely want to do that. Yeah, I love that you're embracing the stuff that we. Let's see, types of orders. Where we go? Ooh,
And what regulation D is with, that's on,
private placements. So those are called safe harbors. Placing a trade, trading securities in the secondary market. I think that would be. Boom. Okay, so let's now go for 30 of those. We said you want to do compare open and versus close. We got that. Anything else we want to add to this?
Maybe some of the Reg D stuff.
Reg D. So Reg D would be private placements, and that would be new issues. Okay, there we go.
Whatever
And
you think is really important. For
yeah, I think that's pretty good. I think that's good. All right, let's call that. We were 42, and then remember there's 10 experimental. So that would mean it's going to be 85, only 75 that are scored. And so we'll go for 43. And that would make the entire time we've done 85 questions. Okay, during times when interest rates can you hold on, I gotta find you. I don't think you can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
No.
Okay, well, that doesn't do us any good. So let me and go find boom. Boom. Okay, let me find you. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so we're back in business. We're back in business.
All right.
During times of rising interest rates, which of the following preferred or likely to pay a higher dividend?
During times when interest rates are rising. Convertible. Oh, see, this is no participating because it's going to participate in the interest rates.
Well, you missed it on both of them.
Wow, lovely.
Well, yeah, well, no, because we picked preferred stock, though, remember. Adjustable rate moves against some base rate. So if it's an adjustable rate, I say, hey, it pays you, Alexandra, it pays you, 100 bips or 100 basis points, 1% over Sucre, which is the overnight lending rate. So it's going to move up and down based on, I like your thought process, though. By the way, your thought process was okay. You said convertible bonds. That would give you upside on the stock, but it wouldn't pay you a dividend.
Right.
But I could see where you would go for that. Participating allows you to participate in excess earnings beyond some stipulated amount, but not necessarily interest rates. So that would have been an adjustable rate. Now, by the way, every
So
once
it was
even yours
adjustable.
truly, yeah, even yours truly, I miss questions too. So, assuming we don't get shut back down and we score it up, we'll see whether I got it right. But I would have said adjustable rate on that one. All right. 2, a company that offers sale of another company's securities in the primary market would best be described. So a company that offers sales of another company's securities in the primary market transaction would be described. I like this. This is testing you on participants.
Yeah. Is it an issuer because it's the primary?
Well, a company that offers sales of another company's, if it was the issuer, within the company's own securities that they would be offering, right? So if an issuer, it would be the company's own securities that would be offered. So it's somebody offering somebody else's securities. So this would be like Morgan Stanley offering you Facebook shares.
Market maker?
Well, then remember it says primary market. Market makers are in the secondary market, trading from inventory. It's an underwriter.
Okay.
So I don't like the language there. I don't like the language there. But again, as your tutor, I don't think you're ever kind of, clueless about what's going on in a question. But the grammar, I lost this argument, by the way, with Kaplan about poor grammar. And, this grammar is kind of atrocious. But, Kaplan thinks it's productive to, have grammar that can be challenging. So let's just go through this slowly. A company that offers sales of another company's securities. That's the key. You would have been right if this just said a company offers securities in the primary market. It's an issuer. But the key thing that makes it not the issuer is it's a third party doing this, right? The thing that makes it not a market maker is primary transaction.
So an underwriter is in the primary market.
That's right. That's exactly right. Market makers are in the secondary market. If I asked you who affects change in ownership, that would have been the transfer agent. So another one of these answer sets where everything could have been the right answer to a different question. Issuance and trading of securities are regulated at more than one governmental level. These would include regulations at which of the following? Which of the following? Again, I don't like the grammar, but I kind of like the takeaway.
Three and four, so C.
You're correct, indeed, right? The SEC and the state administrator. I joke the SEC is God and state administrators think they are. So, there's
Yeah.
50 my gods running around. Companies considering raising capital without going through the registration process. So you were asking me about Reg D, and this is a question about safe harbors, how to sell securities without going through the cooling off period and making a registration. So to be exempt from the act, which of the following offers might they employ? So if you don't want to go
B.
Yeah, the private non-public offering. You asked now, that's a Reg D. And remember, you asked about that. And remember, to participate in that, you have to very much test question be an accredited investor. Do you know
Okay.
what an accredited investor is? Very
A net worth of 500,000,
net worth of $1 million.
a million, not including the resident.
There you go. I think a good way to remember is 1, 2, 3. So you gave me the $1 million net worth excludes primary residence, or what's the 2?
Oh, combined.
No, that'd be single, 200,000 for the last 2 years, and the expectation of 200,000 this year. And then if you're married and filing jointly, then 300,000 for the last 2 years. I think a good way to remember it is 1, 2, 3. So,
Okay.
and your point, that's called a Reg D private placement. A Reg D private placement. So that's B. You're correct on that. And that's one of our safe harbors or exemptions under 33. And again, we give as many institutional investors as we want in a private placement, but we only can have accredited investors. Which of the following features of preferred stocks allows the holder to reduce the risk of inflation? That'd be interesting to see if you get this one right. I think you're going to get this right based on your previous discussion and your thinking that you shared with me.
I think it's C.
And again, you redeemed yourself. That is correct because of that convertible feature. And I thought you were going to get that right because your logic, even on, so good news for you, even on the ones where you're missing, your logic is good, right?
Mhm.
I mean, I get worried when somebody, I don't know how they ever got to the wrong answer. Maybe they're just guessing or, who knows, right? A non-affiliated owns 3% of the issuer's common stock. This person would be considered a controls person if the spouse. I kind of like
B.
this. Yeah, the spouse owns 8. That means 8 and 3 makes you 11. You're correct. We always consider husbands and wives to be acting in concert and all the regulatory questions. I mean, I always joke, what's the point of getting married if you're not going to act in concert, right? So anytime they give you a husband and a wife, you always combine them for whatever they're asking about. While preferred shares tend to be less volatile than common shares, one type of preferred is noted as being even more stable in price than the others. More stable in price than the others. Now, remember, we loaded heavy on preferred. I think you're going to get this one right too, based on our previous one.
Is it D?
You're correct.
Or,
I wish you'd just get rid of your little, who cares if you're wrong and you may as well go with confidence, like even if it's wrong, man. Sound like you know what you're talking about, right? Sometimes I'll be tutoring somebody and they're wrong what they say was a conviction. Even I second guess myself. I go, well, maybe they're right. Maybe they're right. M&O high yield bond fund has a public offering price of 120, a net asset value of 116.40. What is the fund's sales charge? Now, again, we purposely went kind of heavy here on mutual funds.
C, 3%.
I don't know. I didn't do the math. Did you take, let me just do the math. I'll check you. I'm going to get out my calculator because I don't trust my ability to do math in your head. I'll be very impressed again if you're one of these math people because I'm jealous. I get 3.6, and then I'm going to divide that by the public offering price of 120. By goodness, well, that's very impressive. You are correct.
Thank you.
Did you do the math, or did you see
I
this?
did. Yeah.
Oh man, very impressive. Different category, you know, I guess now I got to be a downer, you know, and say, man, too bad there's not more math for you because you're good at it. So
I know.
good news on the 7, you'll get more opportunity to demonstrate your prowess on math than the SIE. All right, different categories of preferred shares offered by an issuer.
B.
All-
No, A.
There you go. Yeah. Don't I like that. Now remember, on the real test, don't ever change your answer unless, like that example, you know you got it wrong, right? And then you say, oh, ooh, okay, I got it. So which of these is an equity security?
Which of these is an equity security? I want to say A.
You are correct. You are correct. Remember, capitalized corporations with equity and debt. There's no such thing as a corporation that doesn't have at least equity common stock. Now, we may not choose to issue anything other than common stock, but if we choose to, we could issue another class of equity called a preferred stock. And then we could also issue some bonds. We could issue unsecured bonds, secured bonds, whatever the case may be. Excellent. An investor owns 3% preferred stock, participating to 6%. This means the investor.
An investor owns 3% preferred stock participating, so could receive. Yes, could receive an additional. Oh, this is a hard one for me.
It is. And remember, we purposely voted some, more preferred stock questions than you're going to actually see on the exam.
My gut is going with A.
And your gut is correct. And most times your gut would be correct. So trust your gut. Trust your gut. Regarding the registration statement filed with the SEC when new securities are to be issued, all the following are true except. All the following are true except.
B.
B, the names and addresses of the company officers and 5-year business series of each must be shown. You missed it, except the accuracy and the accuracy is the responsibility of the underwriters. That's not true. You told me earlier that that was not true, right? That would be the issuer's responsibility. So we will have the name addresses of the company officer. Now the address, it would be not their like residences, their, where the headquarters is, right? And then so it's C. But you said B, and we're trying to get a score, so let's do that. Which of the following? I believe that's your first miss in this next batch of questions. I believe that's your first miss. Which of the following rights, which is good. Which of the following rights are specific to holders of American depository receipts? I know of no draw in which you're not going to be asked about American depository receipts. I don't think it's going to be this particular question. However, you are definitely going to see them. And this says are not available to owners of domestic common stock.
B.
You're correct. You're correct. Now, the one that you are going to get asked on the test is what are ADRs good for? They're used, they're excellent in facilitating U.S. citizens having exposure to foreign equity securities. And then the other thing is that they have currency risk, definitely on the test. All the following are advantages of owning mutual funds except. So 3 good things and 1 bad thing about owning a mutual fund.
A.
That's a good thing. You have voting rights like stock. That's a good thing. But in a traditional open-end mutual fund, you can't purchase them during the trading day, right? You're only doing business based on the next calculation of the NAV. That's not a good thing. And that's
Right,
called
that's
price.
ETFs, I mixed that up, okay.
Yeah. Ensuring that the investing public is fully informed about a security and its issuing company when shares are first sold in the primary market is covered under which of the following acts?
A,
Yeah, that's the prospectus or paper act. Sometimes you can get questions right by just covering them up to the screen. Are they asking me about prospectuses, paper? Are they asking me about people and places? People and places is 34. Paper prospectuses is 33. And then mutual funds would be in the Investment Company Act of 1940. And the Uniform Securities Act would be the template for the states. How do you register securities in the state? How do you register broker dealer? We call those blue sky. So C is about blue sky laws. So you are correct. It's A. A company has issued non-cumulative preferred stock. Non-cumulative preferred stock.
okay. So it's either B or C.
You are correct.
C,
Correct. I love that. I love that. You said it's 50-50. And by the way, you even should have I don't know how you did it as a test taker, but you should have been able to get to 50-50 pretty quickly by saying, okay, well, those things say things are definitely different.
yeah,
And they can't be the same thing in the same universe. So it's one or the other. Good job. All the following are benefits of using a prime broker, except all the following a prime broker. Now I got into it with the guy at Kaplan who's in charge of this stuff because I thought he was wrong about a prime broker. And, we were going back and forth, and we both agreed it was, we shouldn't fight about it because it's not something anybody's seen on the test. So, but
I know that a prime, I feel like it's not right, but I'm just gonna say A,
well, you don't get cost savings. What you get is convenience because your prime broker is who you're using for custody and financing. What your prime broker typically doesn't give you is the research, right? Research you get from the people you're going to execute with. I think it's a stupid question. And I basically think it's stupid on all the discussions in Kaplan and prime brokers. I think are kind of crazy. But this is where a hedge fund, as a hedge fund, what I do is I say to whoever has the idea, you provide me good research, and I call you and say, hey, love your research report. I know you need to get paid, and so I'm going to do this trade through you. But my prime broker is Goldman Sachs, so I'm going to pay you the commission, the markup or markdown, depending on how you guys want to do this transaction with me. And then I want you to settle up my prime broker, Goldman Sachs. Now, the reason that's helpful for me is now I get one set of statements instead of, statements from everybody around town. Right. So
got it.
what I say is I'm monogamous about my financing and my custody. It's Goldman Sachs, but I'm not monogamous about who has ideas. Nobody has a monopoly on ideas. So listen, if you have a good idea, come to me and, I'll agree to do it through you. Because you remember, broker dealers make money through transactions. So this is where I'm going to transact business all over the street, but I don't want to get, 10 different statements. A registration statement for a new debt offering by buy stuff, a well-known seasoned issuer of securities, has been filed with the SEC. The accuracy and the adequacy of the registration statement is the responsibility of. Now, I'm not quite sure why Kaplan continues to torment us on this idea about, who's responsible. I don't really think it's a big deal on the test because everybody's responsible because, but it's primarily going to be, as we've said before,
The issuer.
yeah, right. I'm going to say it's going to be the issuer in terms of what's going on there. So preferred shares have.
B,
Yeah, that's it's stock, but how it reacts in my investor's portfolio is much more like a bond. So from the issuer's perspective, it's equity, but from the investor's perspective, it's a fixed income investment vehicle. And that means it has those risks, right? That means if interest rates go up, your preferred stock is going down. So excellent. Your customer invests in a mutual fund that has a contingent deferred sales charge at 5%, declines over a period of 5 years until it reaches 0. The investor is likely to be purchasing what share class?
Either A or B, B or
You're
C
correct.
shares.
You're correct.
Contingent deferred CD, that's, I thought, in a C share. But no, wait. I think it's B shares.
You're correct. So A shares are for somebody who has a large amount of money and a long time horizon, because they might get a break point and they could use it a letter of intent and, 13 months, right? That kind of thing. And then the B share, you're correct here, is for somebody who has a smaller amount to invest, but a longer term horizon, because after 5 years, the B shares become A shares. You're correct. The C shares would not be for somebody who plans on being in the fund for 5 years, because they have a level load that never goes bye-bye.
Got it.
You were correct. You are correct. A small company, in order to raise capital for expansion, wants to sell shares to the investors, stock to the investors. The company's never offered ownership outside the founding partners to the new investors before. This offering is known as,
C.
an IPO, initial public offering. Boom. Additional would be a follow-on, right?
Right.
And then combination would be some new stock as well as some old stock, and a subsequent would be a follow-on as well. Restricted persons are not allowed to purchase IPO common stock. All the following are restricted persons except.
A.
Excellent. The stuff you're pretty solid on. So that's, you're going to hoover up some points. A mutual fund share class determines.
B.
Right on. Which of the following investment companies does not typically feature a portfolio manager? I think you're going to get this right.
A.
Yeah, you're correct. Remember that whole idea of a fixed portfolio, passively managed, the assets are professionally selected. Sierra Verde Coffee has 122 million shares of common stock outstanding. The last 4 weeks of trading volume were as follows: 1.2 million shares, 1 million shares, 1.1 million shares, 900,000 shares. What is the volume limitation for an affiliate selling shares of the company over the next 90 days? So this is very testable.
I think it's A. I did 122.
Oh my God. I haven't done it again. So you're pretty impressive. Let me see. It's 1% of the outstanding shares. I'm going to do that first. So 122 million times. I should trust you because you so far have demonstrated that you do have a good math skills. That's 122, 1.22. And that's what you're saying the answer is?
Yeah.
Okay, then let me see. So now we're going to add up the shares, because, I'm not as good on the math as you are. Anybody offers me a calculator, I say, thank you very much. I had a guy on my live stream who I couldn't believe the guy I said it was a 65, 66. And I said, there's a lot of math on that. And I said, I'm not very good at math. So, when the math is serious, I used to call my friend Lee. And I said, Lee has made a lot of money from Dean because, I don't want to do my own math. And then this guy you shouldn't be in this business if you can't do your own math. I go, well, listen, my friend, I got a news for you. There's a lot of people in our business who are math challenged. You are correct. So, well, I shouldn't have even doubted you. So all I did was add up those 4 numbers and divide by 4. And boom. That 144 is testable. So remember, officers, directors are going to be subject to volume limitations. The other thing I would know is a different 144, and that is 144A. And 144A allows QIBs, qualified institutional buyers of securities, very testable, people who have 100 million or more in assets under management, to buy unregistered foreign and domestic securities. Not sure if we're going to see it here in the questions we pulled, but on the actual exam, make sure you're ready for what's called a PIPE, a private investment in a public entity. And that would typically be done with 144A and a QIB, where they're buying unregistered stock in a public company. So We'll see if we run into one of those, but definitely on the test. During the cooling off period, the underwriters would be allowed to do all of the following except.
A.
You're correct. The board of directors of the Windmill Growth Fund, this should look familiar. The X day for the dividend will likely be on which of the following days?
B.
You're correct. Remember, now the vast majority of the time it would have been D if it was secondary trading. But remember, in an open-end mutual fund, there is no secondary trading. An officer, broker, dealer would be categorized as a restricted person if that individual attempted to purchase.
B, an initial public offering.
Yeah, indeed. A select pair or group of companies organized to underwrite. Okay, I think you're going to get this. Municipal securities is best known as.
A syndicate.
Yeah, remember these are the underwriters as a group, right? Boom. Which class of shares use a contingent deferred sales charge as the main sales charge?
B.
Yeah. Well, you're rocking, you're rolling. How often is NAV for mutual fund? This is very testable.
At least once per day.
You're going to say A? Is that your choice? You just
Yeah.
missed that. It's once per business day. We don't do it on Saturday and Sunday.
Right. Okay.
Right. So listen, good news, you won't miss that again. Right. Yeah, right. Indication of interest given by an investor during the cooling off period is.
B.
The investor's declaration of potential interest in purchasing something that comes out of registration. Yeah, I like that. A new registered rep receives a memo discussing distribution of a red herring. That's a preliminary prospectus. The registered rep knows the memo is referencing. Oh, I gave it away. My bad. Right.
New registered rep receives a memo discussing the distribution of a red herring.
Yeah, I accidentally gave that one to you.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not sure why Kaplan would, that sometimes the questions I don't understand why they're asking you that. I mean, maybe what is testable is how does a preliminary prospectus or red herring differ from a final prospectus?
Well, I would have the POP price.
There you go, the final offer price. You nailed it. That's the test question. Right. What rights do owners of American Depository Receipts, an owner of domestic common stock, share? Now you will get ADRs. I don't think you're going to see this particular thing, but we said you are going to get ADRs on the SIE.
D.
Yeah, exactly right. They both trade in the secondary market, right on. DE outgrowth. Oh God, I'm gonna trust your math on this.
I'm gonna get my calculator out.
Okay, this one you're gonna use the calculator. DE outgrowth fund. Hold on just a sec. I got to take this call. My dad's having health issues, so I'm going to give you time.
Of course, no problem.
My dad is so hilarious. He's like, he's having health issues. He goes, oh man, it might be $100,000. Like, well, Dad, they're not going to not let you leave the hospital. So, what say you? What say you?
I got D.
Oh man, God, I wish there was so much math for you. I'm so jealous that you're so good at math. Under the IRC subchapter M of the WWF fund only distributes 85%. Oh, then which of these is true? Boy, this is a pretty high-end question for an SIE. On the SIE, you just need to know it's supposed to be at least 90. Well, for both
So it's
funds and REITs.
definitely 2. I know that the fund pays taxes on
That's
100%
exactly
of,
right. That's right.
Yeah.
You're correct.
so now that limits me to either 3 or 4. So the shareholder must pay taxes. Yeah, so it's gonna be 2 and 4. So C.
Excellent. Excellent. Underwriters have been taking indications of interest for shares of an upcoming new issue. Indications of interest is very testable.
It's gonna be D. It's not binding.
Right. That's right. A clearing corporation, agent, or depository for securities transactions. This is asking about participants. Participants is this knowledge of capital markets
I think
section.
it's D.
You think it is? I'm sorry, which one?
D.
Can be a bank or corporation only if they're a broker dealer. No, they don't have to be a broker dealer. Right? That's not true.
So that's gonna be C because everything else says must or can never. So
There
it's
you
saying
go. That's
can
right.
be.
Yeah, this is like State Street, JP Morgan. Absolutely. A tombstone announcement may contain all of the following except. May contain all of the following except.
B.
You say, is that a B or C you say?
B.
B, an offer to sell. Yeah, that was the same one. I think we got that before. Primary market transactions would include each of the following. I kind of like this one because you do get tested on the distinction between the primary market and the secondary market. Primary market, issuer receives the proceeds. Secondary market, previous owner receives the proceeds.
Doesn't it have to be A though? Because it's everything else is a market maker, and we said an underwriter is the primary.
I like it. Now, ma'am, firing on all pistons, indeed. Right. Let's see. I'm just going to check your answer here. Yep. Yep. During the cooling off period, underwriters may not.
They could distribute the preliminary. They can
That's right.
distribute sale literature. They could take indications of interest. I think it's D.
You missed that. That's a bad miss because if I could distribute sales literature, nobody would read the prospectus.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
all right. All I give you is this prospectus because, trust me, if we could give you sales literature, we'd love to do that because then you would not read the prospectus, right? So
Got it.
that was a bad miss. Don't miss it again. Which of the following is true regarding a member firm operating under FINRA membership or the membership of another SRO?
D.
D, member firms can offer, yep, there you go. Right. Like only a few would be like a private placement, indeed. They're asking you about the definition of a broker dealer there. 43, 6 days in the cooling off period, an issuer receives a deficiency letter from the SEC requesting clarifications or corrections. Once the issuer submits these and assuming they satisfy the deficiency, the cooling off period will resume. With no
B.
other deficiencies arising, the issue should become effective. So what we're asking you here is, do they have to restart the cooling off period? Again, I can't imagine that you're actually going to see this type of a question on the SIE, but yeah, they don't have to restart. It's 14 days, right? Listen, I think, man, that was impressive. We lost our score on part 1. We'll call it SEC practice test part 1, and we'll call this part 2. And as your tutor, I have to tell you that I would be awful surprised if you have any kind of thing. We talked about this before in our last session that, I'm going to tell you and whoever your sponsor, well, you don't need a sponsor for SIE, but whoever your accountability partners are, if you miss the mark, that it's got to be, a psychologist that we need, not a tutor, because you've demonstrated mastery of the content in a way that means you should not be at risk. And, very, rarely am I surprised when somebody who I think is not at risk, ends up, being at risk. So, is there anything else that you have for me in terms of what you want to accomplish in this session?
No, I think that's it. I really appreciate it. Thank you. I think I
Okay.
needed the confidence.
Yeah. No, like I say, and I mean, if you do have any kind of a issue, just reach out. You're going the fourth. Now, I've recorded this as 2 sessions with your permission after you pass. Let me know. And I think it would be very helpful for other folks, but that's completely up to you. And like I said,
Yeah.
you can tell me that after you pass, because what happens if I put it up early, then what happens is people go, did she pass? Did she pass? So, I always want to say I had Lauren, you were pretty quick. The other thing I would tell you is that I'm not going to give you a hard time because you were correct. And I love that. I hope you keep that pace on the aim and shoot, point and click stuff, because that's the pace. If you know it, you know it. And if you don't, you don't. Very pleased with that. I'm hoping for you a draw that's heavy on math, because you sure demonstrated your ability to quickly kind of calculate numbers. I think that'll be really great on the 7. I wish you got more of that on the SIE, but you're not. You maybe get 2 or 3 perhaps math questions. And remember that second part, we loaded with what were heavier stuff, the stuff you wanted to talk about, types of words. You can still listen. I'm not saying you can, you don't need to fold up your study over. You could still, do some work and try and overlearn things and get them even higher above par. I think you're already above par that is necessary to pass. But like that, the difference between a stop and a stop limit, you could certainly go there. It's not as, even though we loaded that, as you saw, I think we had maybe 1 in this last draw. So, 2, 3 questions, maybe. So I don't think, again, I wouldn't believe you if you said, Dean, I messed up because of types of orders. I'd say, I don't know about that. It's mostly the characteristics and, the products themselves. So, so this is what the first, I'm trying to do the math here. So that's Wednesday, Thursday, you're testing Friday?
Yes.
Friday, what time?
10:15 a.m. Eastern.
Okay, so that's 7:15 my time. I'll be sending you some good testing vibes. Do you have my cell phone?
I do not.
Okay, let me give that to you, but don't call me from the exam site. 415-515-6045. And you're welcome to text me if you have a question. Email. Sometimes I get a little bogged down in email. So if I'm, not returning an email.
Thank you. What was the area code? I missed that.
415 San Francisco. I spent most of my career in San Francisco. And you don't have to call me on Saturday, but about 10, 15, 11, I'll be thinking, what's going on? So
I will definitely text you. I really appreciate
how are you
it.
feeling now? Is this your 3rd time or your 2nd time?
3rd.
Oh, that's ridiculous. That's so ridiculous. So how are you feeling? Are you feeling better this time? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, if you've seen so many different people and
yeah. Well, I think our sessions have mainly been insurance for you, just to give you an insurance policy.
Yeah.
I mean, but based on your performance in all our sessions, I can't believe you had a problem the 1st or 2nd time, but maybe you powered up from the 1st or 2nd time, but you had high scores, right? You had high 60s, I think.
Yeah, I missed it by like 1 or 2 questions each
So,
time.
don't second guess yourself. They like a couple of times you had a little bit of a uplift in your voice, like you're questioning yourself. So please get rid of that. And there's no reason for you to not pull the trigger on the answer and be confident in the answer. I mean, I would tell you, I'd be, I wouldn't, if I thought you were risk, I would tell you. I mean, so I'm not blowing smoke just to make you feel good. I'm not trying to give you a placebo for Saturday. I truly believe that you can pass, or I'm not trying to build your confidence, even though it's important, because that as your tutor, I think it is some other variable, and it's certainly not knowing this stuff. So that's the challenge, right? That's the challenge. So
Yeah.
just think about your psyche, whatever you can do in terms of getting your psyche good on Friday. Thursday, make sure Thursday afternoon you're going low key. Stay away from any energy vampires. I would say, listen, I'm fragile right now. I'm staying for my SIE. Any space you could give me would be greatly appreciated. So just give thought to that. And like I say, if you want to check in Wednesday, Thursday, let me know, and we can certainly just do a little raw call. But again, Hippocratic oath, I don't want to do anything that's going to make you go backwards. So putting on your game face is what you need to do. Just do that. Just whatever your routine is, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I appreciate it. I hope your dad feels better.
I'm excited for you. And then listen, once we get this done, we're gonna make sure that we're not doing the 7 3 times, right?
Oh, no, exactly.
We're gonna get this one done, then we're gonna get you back on track to the good test taker we know you are, right?
Yes, there we go.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Dean. Bye.